there is a great question related to that in today's Factor Cap segment. So if you could get us started with that.
Definitely. So we're going to switch it up a little bit. We usually do Factor Cap towards the end of the show, but tonight we're going to start it off with the show. So Factor Cap. Alex, I'm going to bring it to you first. Factor Cap. The Clippers will finish as a top 3 seed in the NBA.
Cap.
In the Western Conference.
Cap. Easy. Cap. I think they need time to adjust themselves. I think those are 4 huge names all trying to play on the same team. I don't think it's going to be very quick. But also the West is too stacked. I think you have the Suns, the Nuggets, and then I would give the 3rd seed probably same team as last year, the
Go
Kings.
ahead and say it.
Maybe the Lakers get that 3rd seed. I don't know, right? But I don't think they'll be top 3. That's cap. I think they'll be top 4 or 5. I'll give them that, but not top 3.
All right, Shaun, I'll bring it to you next. Factor Cap. The Clippers will be a top 3 team in the Western Conference.
I'm going to say this is cap mainly because of what I just was saying in regard to the Kings winning the Pacific Division again, is that the Clippers are one of the most load management teams in the NBA. And
Kawhi
as
said he
Alex
don't want
was
to load
saying,
manage no more. That's crazy.
Why said he playing all 82?
That's what he said.
I will believe it when I see it. If we get to the end of the season and we get to April and Kawhi, Paul George, like I got a wood desk right here, so I'll knock on wood real quick. I'm not wishing on any injuries on any of these players, but if all of those stars can all make it throughout the season, number one, without getting hurt in the first place, but then number 2, not load managing consistently. Like if you miss one game here and there, that's not a big deal. But if you're missing a couple in a row and you're just, oh yeah, I got a sore hip, then to me that's load management. So I'm going to say that this is cap just because I don't think the Clippers care about the regular season.
All right, Ty, I'm going to bring it to you next. All right, you got to go with another cap. Factor Cap. The Clippers will be a top 3 team in the Western Conference.
I'm also going to say cap for this one. I'm going to stick to my guns here and, roll with what I said in the preseason preview that we had a couple weeks ago. Go check that out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, all of that good stuff. But as far as the factor cap question goes, I'm going to say cap because I do think just the West, as Alex already alluded to, is just, is so tough. And we all understand that Kawhi, Paul George are like one of the top wings in this league, period. But we just haven't seen them healthy. I think health is the reason why everyone is not going to confide in this top 3 in the West type team. They have top 3 potential. Yes, I think we all can agree on that. The potential is there for them. They could be one of the best teams in the league, but they have to play, spans of games together be on the court. It can't just be, Paul George is out, Kawhi's out, Russ is out, and, they're missing somebody. Somebody is always hurt on this team. And I feel like we all believe it's a what have you done for me lately league. Kevin always says that. And lately, last time we saw Paul George, he was in street clothes in the playoffs. And the last time we saw Kawhi, he was also, he had almost 40-point game in the playoffs, but then the next game, out, knee injury. When's he coming back? I don't know. Well, what about the next game? He ain't coming back. So we all have seen Kawhi and Paul George hurt so many times. I feel like we're so scarred by that, and we kind of just go off, they're not going to be healthy. So definitely they'll still make the playoffs like they usually do. They'll figure out a way to get into the playoffs, but I don't think they are a top 3 team in the West.
Well, Gary, I hope you're listening out there because I know this is usually your role to play devil's advocate, but I guess it got to be me. Factor cap. The Clippers will be a top 3 team in the West. I'm going to say fact because everyone's mentioned injuries. What we've seen this season, I'm seeing OKC Paul George vibes. Finished top 2 in MVP. 28 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. Paul George is playing. We've all talked about all offseason how this was going to be Kawhi's team and PG has to play on his back. It ain't the case through 4 games. Kawhi is playing second fiddle to Paul George, and then Russell Westbrook is playing out of his mind. So we're adding, like Toddy said, a person who led the NBA in assists, arguably could have been an all-star, to this lineup. They got to keep Terrence Mann. They got Zubac. This team has depth out the wazoo. So the team after the trade is James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, PJ Tucker, Ivan Zubac, Russell Westbrook, Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, Mason Plumlee, and Bones Highland. They have a deep team, but like Toddy said, this is always on paper. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the monologue, you don't address the Clippers without putting the parentheses and saying if healthy. If this team can stay healthy, they can be a top 3 wet team in the West. I'm not seeing 1 or 2, but like Alex said, that third spot in the West is up for grabs, and I definitely think that the Clippers can go and grab that third spot and be a top 3 team in the Western Conference. So I'm gonna have to say fact. What's going through your head, Alex? Let me hear it.
But you're taking this season that's been such a small sample size compared to a larger sample size of them load managing their players and then them being injured. So like, yes, they're playing great. It's like I think it was Utah Jazz last year. They were number 1 in the West for like the first month. They did great that first month, and then they never made even the play-in. So I don't judge teams on that first month because they're trying to get conditioned, things like that. So like, we only had 6-7 games so far, and yeah, they've been playing great. Paul George is playing like he's on the Indiana Pacers again, like he's PG 24, not PG 13, right? And so I get that, but it's only 7 games, and that's why I like this in-season tournament. I know we're going to talk about that a little later, because it keeps that momentum still going throughout the season. Because usually teams dip, teams rise throughout November, December, and then All-Star break comes and all that stuff.
Yeah, I understand all that, but a lot of this team has Tyronn Lue. He's had a big 3. He's had the drama. He's come into a position. They fired David Blatch, and then the next year when Ty Lue gets in town, they win a championship. He is a guy that's going to get this locker room to commit. We saw guys like him getting Bones Highland getting going, Norman Powell. We've seen Terrence Mann become a whole new player under Ty Lue. Ty Lue is going to get the best out of James Harden because Ty Lue understands that if this is just going to be a rental, I'm going to make sure that every day that my rims are shiny and this car is looking good, even if it's going to be a rental. So I think Tyronn Lue is a understated factor in this equation because he knows how to lead men, and that's what all coaches say. We've heard with the Raiders. I know this is football, it's not a basketball show, but Devontae Adams said, you just need if you're going to be a coach at the professional level, you need to be a leader of men, and these men need to be able to run through a wall for you. And there's no better example than Tyronn Lue. Down 3-1, he told his team, put money in the ceiling. We coming back after we win Game 7 for our money. He makes you believe, and I am a Ty Lue fan ever since he brought Braun a championship. I think Ty Lue has been there every season because they always get hurt. He goes into games not even knowing if they're going to play or not. So if they can just get into the playoffs healthy, no matter the seed, I think they're going to be able to make some noise in the playoffs.
A lot of ifs in there, Kevin. A lot of ifs.
A lot of ifs. But I think